Welcome back to War Thunder. Welcome aboard the Spitfire LF Mark 9 here in realistic battles in the process of respading it, getting the 50 cal upgrades, and that serves me as nice background footage for the Duck Talks number 21 new goals. And I think there's quite a few things to talk about, so let's get right into it. First of all, the 20th Duck Talks was like 5 weeks ago. If somebody is really, liking this series, I'm sorry for the delay. For everybody else, well, hello again. And I think it was patch 1.65 that brought the delays with it. Why? Because I had so much to cover, so much new content, so much to talk about certain videos and vehicles, new implementations like the bomber cockpits, which brought new life to the simulator community, at least from what I've heard. Then a few days later, Gaijin actually released War Thunder. And there were two things that I have to mention right here. First of all, some people said that your progress that you made in the beta gets reset. It didn't happen. We still have our accounts that we had in the beta. Nothing really has changed. By the way, the release was like... It came as a surprise to me. It was like, hey, our game is now in release. Here, have 70% discounts on some mega packs. And I was like, yeah, okay, I have to take it. Can I have some money, please? So, yeah, it was expensive as usual when there are some discounts. By the way, there was like two very big discounts within 2 months. A 50% discount marathon for the 4 years anniversary, and then a 70% discount. That's quite a lot, I have to say, and that gave me the chance to get my hands on vehicles that I probably would have never gotten, like the T-29 and the Wyvern, which are included in packages. So quite nice to have them, and at some point I will show you footage with them. Maybe the T-29, of course, will be a tank review, but I have to play it first, and to get some experience, I have to find my way back into 6.7 battle rating heavy tank gameplay. The German Diesel King Tiger has to be reviewed in the same manner, and there I have to drive a lot of tanks in the next time. I have to say, and yeah, after that I come to the point that I have to mention I reached 1,500 subscribers on my YouTube channel. Great result right there, comrade. I worked for it for like, I'm not quite sure how long I worked for it, but over half a year. And it was quite a journey, I have to say. I have to thank a lot of people, I will mention them later and why I have to thank them. But first of all, I have to mention I got into the Gaijin Partnership Program, and 1,500 subscribers was the milestone. But the journey is not over. Now let's hunt PewDiePie. See? Yeah. Jokes aside, I'm happy if I reach, like, let's say at the end of 2017, let's reach much more, like 3 times that. Let's say 5,000 subscribers. That's a bold number, right? Yeah, but I'm aiming for it. Let's say 5,000. If it's more, it would be awesome. Now, the Gaijin Partnership Program is for me personally important, as I have spent a lot of money on the game already. Unnecessary amounts, because I'm a collector, I'm a completionist. I want to have all the tanks, all the planes, and in the future, all the ships as well. So we can expect something from that. And the Gaijin Partnership programs work like that. You have a certain amount of subscribers, you can apply for the partnership program. For me personally, the response came within half an hour from a nice guy at Gaijin, and he gave me a code that I could activate, and I got a small press kit, so to speak. And that included 2 planes, one American plane and 1 American tank, but I had both of them already. And so the only thing that I really got was 10,000 golden eagles. To make sure that you completely understand what that means, I get 3 golden eagles for every each month. 10,000 golden eagles. That's worth like 50 euros if I'm not mistaken. And that's amazing in my opinion. However, I also need it as a YouTuber to get through certain stuff faster than the usual player. Up until this point, I have never, ever used, let's say, free experience to transform them into, grinding tanks with gold. I never did this. But I always purchased certain upgrades, especially when they are completely necessary. Everybody knows how painful it is to grind for the repair kit or the fire prevention equipment on tanks. And especially at tier 4 and tier 5, that takes a while. So to have enough golden eagles to get rid of that is very helpful, I can tell you right now. And don't get me wrong, while 10,000 golden eagles are a lot, they still, let's put it that way, you can run through them very, very fast. Especially when a completely new tech tree comes out. With, for example, let's talk about the Japanese tanks. I actually like them overall, but up until this point they bring nothing completely new to the table. Yes, with the Chiri 2 we have the first true autoloader in the game. And yes, with the... I think it's the Type 74 or the STP-1. No, I think it's the last Japanese tank. It does have hydro-pneumatic suspension. How it exactly works and how useful it actually will be in battle, I have to find out. And before that, I actually have to play it. So there's that. And so, yeah, it still will take me a while, but I think there is still enough potential stuff in the game that I can review, that I can cover, and so on. So I will not run out of content in the near future. However, I really want to save as many golden eagles as I can for when ships come out. And ships are my guilty pleasure, I have to say. Before I began to, even look too much into tanks and planes, hell, even before I began to play War Thunder, I knew quite a little bit about submarines, about ships, and what they had in as equipment and so on, how it worked and so on. And I want to see it in the game. And while we don't see battleships in the near future, let's put it that way, I'm not mad about this, because the small ships are actually a part of the Second World War that is highly overlooked. And I'm glad to see it in War Thunder in the future. And as when I understand it correctly, when the closed beta, the real closed beta starts, we will have all 5 nations with, ship tech trees. That's a huge amount of stuff to cover. A huge amount of premium vehicles I also expect to see access to in the game, or, being added to the game, let's put it that way. So that will be like the third part of War Thunder. And when I think about how much effort I have to how much effort I have to put into researching tanks and also new planes and so on, researching 5 complete new tech trees will take a while. So every golden eagles that I can get my hands on is highly welcome. And also I want to present you guys the stuff, obviously, So there's that. Now, 1,500 subscribers don't come out of nowhere, so this is the part where I actually have to reach out and thank a few people. And I also want to tell you kind of the story how this all happened. And the first name that I have to mention here is Jingles. Jingles, in 2013, I watched by default kind of one of his videos, and it was about War Thunder. He had fun, and that was enough to convince me to try out the game. Free-to-play title, nothing to lose. It actually was the first free-to-play game that I ever played. And so I went into the game, had a lot of fun, and since then stick to it. And while I tried out numerous other games in the time between, 2013 and now, I think War Thunder has a lot of content to provide fun for me for the next few years. So that's the beginning. Now, the mighty Jingles is no longer with us in terms of War Thunder, content, sadly. And that is a shame. But I loved his tank reviews and also kind of his plane reviews, so to speak. And, that gave me the idea to make YouTube videos for myself. However, I hesitated a lot for numerous reasons, like, will I enjoy the game if I begin to make YouTube videos? What about if there are so many haters out there and so on? And, they just hunt me down all the time. Will I then quit, YouTube and so on to be able to play the game by myself and so on? Up until this point, it hasn't happened. So the community on my channel is awesome. You guys are nice. I love your comments. I love your likes. And, it is quite a pleasure to interact with you guys. So there's that. I highly appreciate it. Will it change in the future? I hope not, because that's the amazing part right now. Although I have received kind of some warnings, well, when you get bigger, there are more and more normal guys, that just came to this channel because you were recommended, then they are unhappy with that, what they see, and it doesn't, fulfill their expectations and so on. Yeah, but this will come in the future. Although I have to say, the very first video that I uploaded was one of my test video series. It was a T-44-100 gameplay in arcade. It's no commentary, just a test video if it works. And the first comment ever that I got on War Thunder was from a guy called Spirit Gamer, something like this, and he just wrote, "Stupid fucker." I think I have to print that myself out and hang it as a picture right above my bed to remember the first comment ever, because it was a hater comment. And I will probably come to this back in a moment. However, how it really started off was when Squire, or Squire Flyer, you might know him as, I think it was on Facebook, had a post like something like, "I need a few guys for recording here, TeamSpeak, and so on." And so I jumped on there. We recorded a video. We had a lot of fun. I was glad to be part of it. And then, it was on the TeamSpeak. And that TeamSpeak was called the Gentleman's Hangar. This TeamSpeak was also the meeting point, so to speak, for a few YouTubers. Amongst them, the Orange Doom, Mike Goes Boom, and a few more. And so Squire, the Orange Doom, and Mike Goes Boom were the three most important initial guys on my journey within YouTube. And I know it's just 1,500 subscribers. Don't interpret too much to it, but I think the story that I want to tell you is quite worth listening to. At least I want to think so myself. So Squire brought me into the Gentleman's Hangar, and I stuck around for quite a while, up until the point that I met Mike Goes Boom. Mike was the first one, and quite an interesting story. Our first conversation was when I was about to leave the TeamSpeak, because it was quite late, if I remember correctly. And then he joined, the entrance hall. We talked a little bit, and it took us like 10 to 15 minutes to figure out that we actually can speak German with each other. So that was quite amusing. Yeah. While my English is not flawless, it's not that bad that it was quite initially obvious when we talked. So yeah, that was a funny story. And then a few weeks after that, the Orange Doom, I think I met him for the first time. And I think it was the lack of fear from big names that kind of, was the thing that made me stood out from the crowd, because I was not the only one that stuck around on this TeamSpeak, to play with other people and so on. And so since then, I talked to the Orange Doom, he talked to me, we had discussions, and initially it was more civilized than it is nowadays. Everybody that is joining Orange Doom's live streams knows what I'm talking about. If not, you will see it from time to time. It's a friendly roasting each other kind of. So yeah, so those three guys made it possible that I went into contact with more and more guys, and especially the Orange Doom and Mike Goes Boom gave me a lot of tips how to make YouTube. And then I actually began to make YouTube. It was like half a year after I joined the Gentleman's Hangar that I put up my first video, something like that. So it was quite a while. Since then, many things changed. The Gentleman's Hangar went down when all the YouTubers made their own Discord and so on. And, this TeamSpeak was, not working as intended, and it was laggy, had a lot of disconnects and so on, which was kind of painful when you are in a match and suddenly you lose contact. So it just didn't work anymore. Since then, I went into contact with many other guys. Amongst them, many miles away is another YouTuber. He's a nice guy. He makes also tank reviews, but they are completely different. However, funny. And so I recommend him to check him out if you don't know. And now the artwork and how to actually let it begin, so to speak, I have to thank two people. The first one is Exe, which is a friend of mine, and I visited like 2 times right now on the Hornweide. I met him the first time. And also on New Year, I went to him to celebrate the New Year. He also helped me to suffer through the E100 event, and eventually I got my hands on the E100. I think without him, I wouldn't have gotten the E100 because, it was a very painful event in my opinion. And also he helped me greatly out with the PC settings and shadow play to begin with it. And then the second one that I have to thank is my friend Koza. While Koza is relatively young in comparison to me, he is very capable and he helped me greatly out with the artwork on my channel. It's not too impressive and I will change it in the future. I mean, it's not impressive, but it's not what I eventually want. And I think the next few days will be a little bit work intense for Koza. He doesn't know it right now, but I need some new stuff, so there's that. Now, Koza helped me really out. He helped me out greatly, as Exit did, as many more did, amongst them the Orange Doom and Mike Goes Boom, and also Squire. And I have contact with all of them still, and I think War Thunder has a long lifetime, in my opinion, as a free-to-play game. It's awesome stuff. The journey so far was very enjoyable. I hope to improve my video quality, my English, my sound quality, and everything that there is to improve, which will actually, as far as I heard it from other more successful YouTubers, this journey will never end. And it's more like the way that is worth walking than to reaching the goal. Because once you reach a goal, you have to go to another goal. You have to have another goal to continue your work. Because when you think you're done, you're literally done. And so, yeah, I think that's it, that there is all to talk about the Duck Talks. There are many more topics that I want to talk about, but I think there will be part in the next Duck Talks, so to speak. And that brings us to the match against the Russians. And this is the last enemy player, a Yak 3. I think it's a Yak 3P if I'm not mistaken. I already had some, questionable shooting and playing. But the thing with a Spitfire is that you can't get away with it that easily. And yeah, it's highly enjoyable to fly Spitfires. In my opinion, in conjunction how the game works, I think Spitfires are too easy to fly. Ooh, that comment will leave some traces in the comment section, I'm quite sure. But indeed, Spitfires are easy to fly. Not just in realistic, but also in arcade. And I think for planes, I made my decision. While I think arcade for planes might be enjoyable, a lot of decisions that Gaijin made kind of ruined arcade for me. And so for planes, I'm deeply convinced that realistic is the way to go, especially when you want to grind higher battle rating planes and so on. Realistic is better for the grind and also for the enjoyment. It's not flawless. There are certain things that have to be changed, improved, and looked at by Gaijin. However, in the long run, I think realistic is more enjoyable, especially with ground strikers such as the 82 Sky Raider, if you know what I'm talking about. Yes, yes. And the other thing is, for tanks, I have to say the grind is extremely long, as I mentioned before. That's my 4th kill, by the way. I think the journey will never end. But for tanks, I have to say, for grinding, arcade is king, because there is no big difference between arcade and realistic in terms of skill set. And everybody that likes and enjoys realistic for the game experience, I'm the last one to want to convince you to play arcade, but arcade has its advantages over realistic and the other way around. But be open-minded and just respect the opinions of others. You're highly welcome to have a discussion here on my channel, but don't be disrespectful in this certain topic, because it's highly debatable. However, let's have a quick look at the results. So for 4 kills and 2 ground units and 1 assist, I got over 100,000 silver lines and 5,334 research points and modification research points, and quite a nice result. So that's it for today. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Let me know in the comment section what you think about what you just heard. And yeah, that's it for today. Give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other in the skies and on the battlefields of War Thunder.